You're listening to 90.9 FM WDCB. I'm Leslie Karras, and as promised, we are joined by some guests this afternoon. And the Youth Jazz Ensemble of DuPage is a group that has been around now for more than 25 years. They are getting ready to compete in the Essentially Ellington Festival at Jazz at Lincoln Center in New York City next month, and we are joined by the director of the ensemble, Robert Blazik. Welcome, Robert.
Thank you for having us here. We're excited to be here.
And also we have two members of the ensemble, saxophonist Alex Polowski.
Hi.
Hi there. And also we have drummer Gavin Schnall.
Hello, hello.
And so, Robert, if you could tell us a little bit about the festival itself. It's called a festival, but from what I understand, it's more of a competition.
Sure. They entitle it the Essentially Ellington Competition and Festival. But basically, in the past years, they've assembled 15 bands from across the United States, and they've put those bands in different categories of regions of the country, and they've selected from 5 regions 3 bands from each region, getting 15 bands. We were selected last year, which was exciting for us to be in the Midwest region. We also went in 2001, way back when, and in 2008 we were the conglomerate winner. So this is our 4th time now going this year in the 30th anniversary. So this year there are 30 bands. It's an international competition this year.
I think there's a band from Australia, if I'm
Australia,
not mistaken,
Japan, and Spain. Yes, exactly.
Amazing.
So it'll be pretty exciting to see their spin on our American music at the festival. So it's broken up into nice, I guess you would say, sectionals or clinics for each of the various instruments. So the saxophones will be together, and they'll meet with saxophones from the other, schools or countries. And same with the rhythm section and the brass players. And the first night, they have a nice dinner for all of the students together, and they sit with one of the members from the orchestra at their table, and they just all get to know each other. And
from the Jazz at Lincoln Center Orchestra?
Yes.
Oh,
exactly.
really?
Yes,
wow.
exactly. And at that time, then the directors all get to go out and have a nice meal too as well. So
wow.
it's a nice fellowship type of moment at that time.
So this happens in May.
This happens May 7th through the 11th. We leave on the 6th and return on the 12th. So it's basically 6 nights in New York City, which can be rather expensive.
Yes. Well, speaking of that, you're having a fundraising concert on Sunday. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, we are. We're having a fundraiser at, help me with the name of the restaurant again?
This is at the Two Hound Red Brewing Company in Glen Ellen.
I was going to reverse the word, so thank you.
I know, you have to practice it.
Yeah, you do, but it's a tongue twister. Yes, they're gracious enough to have us play as a combo there, so we'll have members, including Alex and Gavin right here. They'll be playing in a combo from 2 to 4, and proceeds, 10% of the proceeds from that evening go towards our trip to New York City.
Well, let's do this. Let's hear one of the tunes that your ensemble has recorded. This is a Benny Carter composition, and you told me there's an interesting history about it. Can you tell us about that before we hear it?
Yes, it is. It's written from for his San Juan Hill Suite, which is a neighborhood that he grew up with in New York. And right now, it's actually the site of the Jazz at Lincoln Center building. So it just ties everything together for us to play this piece and to have it tie into New York and Jazz at Lincoln Center and, of course, Benny Carter. It's just a wonderful experience.
All right, then. Well, let's hear the Youth Jazz Ensemble of DuPage, which we're going to refer to as YJED for short. Let's hear them on Movin' Uptown on DCB Jazz. That is the Youth Jazz Ensemble of DuPage here on DCB Jazz with a tune called Movin' Uptown that Benny Carter composed. They recorded that one in December, and they are getting ready to flex their muscle there in New York City itself, in the very place where Benny Carter had grown up and written that tune, Movin' Uptown, about San Juan area. And so we're going to talk with some of the folks in the ensemble and who are in the house right now, and also talk with the director, Robert Blazik. So, Robert, can you tell us a little bit about how the ensemble came about? You founded it, did you not?
Yes, I did, along with a band parent that I had. I taught middle school in Wheaton for a number of years, and we knew that there was like the DuPage Youth Symphony and Naperville Youth Symphony, but nothing for jazz. And her father was the road manager for Count Basie.
Oh, really?
And yeah, Jeannie Dresser was her name, or is her name, and we had this idea, let's see if we can get all these all-stars together, and so we started the group. At that time we had 3 different high schools involved, and our first year and our third year we had grown to about 7 and made it to the Ellington Festival in 2001 for the first time.
Wow. That didn't take long.
Well, again, I just wave my arms and these kids do all the work. They do the heavy lifting, and so then we just kind of continued to grow, and the word spread, and now we're at 12 different high schools.
And this is in the Chicagoland area?
In the Chicagoland area, mostly DuPage. We're centered here in DuPage. And they have really just... we created it for an idea for them to be able to network and not just, play with each other for a year or two, but as they become adults. And there are many across the Chicagoland area: Alex Beltran, Luke Malowitz, Anthony Bruno, names that are out there that are playing all the time at Andy's or Jazz Showcase that were members of YJED. And they play with each other, at that time, 25 years ago, and now in their 40s. So it's really exciting to see that. So that's really the dream, is to just create this culture that they want to live in for the rest of their lives. Well,
and we have, as I mentioned, 2 members of the ensemble with us, and why don't we introduce them? Saxophonist Alex Polakowski. Hello there, Alex.
Hi.
And I believe you were the tenor saxophonist we heard taking the first solo on Movin' Uptown.
I was, yeah.
All right. And also we have drummer Gavin Schnall with us as well.
Yes, hello.
Alex, let's begin with you. Can you talk with us? Tell us what high school you're from.
I'm from Naperville Central High School.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about how you came to jazz and some of your musical influences.
Well, I studied with a person named Armand Sangalang. And
oh, sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so he showed me this record called Sunny Side Up by Dizzy Gillespie.
Right.
Hearing Sonny Rollins and Sonny Stitt on the Eternal Triangle is kind of how I started.
Oh, wow.
That's
a very auspicious start.
yeah, for sure.
That tune is amazing. That Sonny Stitt number is absolutely amazing, and it's really interesting. It must have been for you, too, to hear the different styles of Sonny Stitt and Sonny Rollins just right there and observe that. Was there one that you gravitated more, or were you equally impressed by both of them?
Equally by both of them. They're tremendous.
So that's a great start.
Heroes for my instrument, yeah.
And what kind of, from there, where have you gone musically, would you say? What are you listening to now?
I listen to a lot of Joe Henderson. I like him. I like a lot of Woody Shaw.
Okay, I just played some Woody Shaw, actually, earlier. Yeah, Woody Shaw is awesome. He's one of my favorite trumpeters.
Super
great.
Tough, yeah.
Well, you've got some good taste there.
Thank you, yeah.
Now, Gavin, I'd like to talk with you about the experiences you had last year. You competed in the essentially Ellington Jazz Festival last year, so tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So, one thing that I always tell people about the Ellington Festival, I appreciate how they structure it, in my opinion, less like a competition, more like a networking thing, like kind of how we were talking about before. It's definitely a way to meet other people.
From around the world, it sounds like, right?
This year around the world, last year around the country. I remember last year, the first thing we did is we had that dinner that Mr. Blazik was talking about. I was sitting with people from Florida all the way to New York. So I think I was sitting with someone from Agora in California. So it's a really great networking opportunity. And
you're all playing different instruments as well?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so it's not just like the drummer's table. right?
Yeah, so it was all amongst the rhythm section. So I was sitting with bass players and piano players and drummers.
Great.
They try to keep it mainly with your instrument, but they also allow you to talk to other people around in the other instruments tables as
Sure.
well. Sure.
Now, after that, tell us a little bit about what happened the next day.
Yeah, so after the dinner, I believe was the first day of the competition. So everyone arrived at Lincoln Center early in the morning, and they started competition. Before you perform, you have to warm up. So for YJED, our warm up was in Dizzy's Club. We were able to get the band in there, and we got to rehearse with a mentor. And there it was basically like getting the jitters out and getting ready to perform on that massive Rose Theater, that massive stage.
And so when you're performing on that stage, do you have a whole panel of judges who are listening to what you're doing? How does that work?
Yes. So when we're on stage, we're performing, and then out near the sound booth in the middle of the audience is our judges. I remember specifically for drums, we had Jeff Hamilton.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, I know Sean Jones was on
the trumpeter.
Was on the panel as well, filling in for Wynton Marsalis. So yeah, they always have some all-star judges in that audience.
So how did you feel performing in front of them?
I feel like
especially Jeff Hamilton right there.
Oh,
did you know
yeah,
he was
100%.
there?
What'd you say?
Did you know he was one of the judges at the time?
I knew he was a judge in the past. I wasn't
Okay.
sure if he was going to be returning, but when I found out that he was going to be one of the judges, like the day before we performed, it was pretty daunting. It was exciting though, for sure. Yeah. So getting on the stage, you don't entirely think it's going to be as like impressive and like ginormous as you initially think, but then when you get on the stage and when I sat down on that throne, I looked out at the audience. It was an amazing feeling. It was like something I remember. I remember I wrote about it in my essay for school. It was a feeling like no other. It's sitting on that stage and feeling the spotlight on you, especially like at the birthplace of jazz or one of the birthplaces of jazz, Lincoln Center. It's something really special, and getting to see all the people in the audience is really special as well.
All right. Well, how about we hear some more music that the ensemble has made? And this one, from what I can tell, speaking of Ellington, from what I can tell, the trombonists and the trumpeters are having the most fun in Happy-Go-Lucky Local.
They sure are.
So here we go. This is the Youth Jazz Ensemble of DuPage, YJED, on DCB Jazz. That is the Youth Jazz Ensemble of DuPage, YJED, here on DCB Jazz with Happy Go Lucky Local. I'm Leslie Karras. You're listening to 90.9 FM WDCB, and we've been talking with the director of the ensemble, Robert Blazik, as well as two members of the group, saxophonist Alex Polakowski and drummer Gavin Schnall, about the upcoming competition that they will be engaging in New York City, essentially Ellington Jazz Festival coming up in May. And actually, as we were listening to Happy Go Lucky Local, Robert, you were mentioning and you and I were both admiring the trumpeter we just heard from, reaching into the ether there. What's his name?
Yes, his name is Sam Chop, and he's a student at Neuqua Valley High School. He's a senior. Jonathan Loft's the band director there. And he's, as we were saying, he's an anomaly. Not too many high school trumpet players can play in that stratosphere as well and as often as he can. So one of the pieces that we recorded, which we're not playing today, What Am I Here For, we have put to the side for the Ellington Festival and replaced it with another Ellington chart called The Opener. And it's a real burning up-tempo blues, and it features Cat Anderson, and the Ellington band playing. And so Sam steps into that role really nicely for us. Yeah.
And we're going to be hearing from Ellington in just a minute. We'll be hearing The Opener, which is going to be our closer.
Sounds great, yes. It's going to be our opener in New York.
All right, excellent. Well, Alex, I'd like to thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, and good luck in New York in May. And Gavin, I forgot to ask you what high school you are from, so remind us, please.
I'm from Downers Grove South High School.
Okay, great, and good luck to you as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So there are a couple of ways, if listeners are interested in hearing more of the ensemble and supporting them, one way to do that is to attend the concert on Sunday here in Glen Ellen, which is serving as a fundraiser. It's a Sunday afternoon from 4 to 6 p.m. at the Two Hound Red Brewing Company in Glen Ellen. And also, Robert, your ensemble has a website at YJED.org if they want to find out more about the ensemble.
Correct.
And there's a GoFundMe link on that webpage as well if people want to support the ensemble and defray expenses that will be incurred as part of going to essentially Ellington.
Yes.
Also, I understand besides the fundraiser on Sunday, there's another concert that's coming up that's on May 4th.
Yes, it's May 4th. It'll feature the band, of course, playing some of these Ellington pieces, as well as our vocalist and a whole slew of pieces. We'll have about 14 on the concert, and it'll feature John Wojciechowski, tenor saxophone player, with the band as well.
All right. Well, thanks once again, gentlemen, for joining us today.
Of course.
And we're going to close, as promised, with Duke Ellington's The Opener on 90.9 FM. Duke Ellington here on 90.9 FM, WDCB, and The Opener. I'm Leslie Karras here with you on DCB Jazz, and once again want to thank the folks from YJED for coming on by the station, Robert Blazek, the director, Alex Polakowski, the saxophonist, and Gavin Schnall, the drummer, and wish you very good luck in New York next month at the Essentially Ellington Festival.